Hello my darlings, I hope you're doing very, very well. I hope you are sitting comfortably, you are cozy, and you have your snacks and your beverages at the ready. Welcome to the Cozy Corner. I thought I would film today's video in the Cozy Corner just for something a little bit different, something a little bit more cozy, just to set a different vibe and mood. I don't know, I just felt like doing something a little bit different. I don't know if it's going to work out very well, but here we are. Make sure you've got your blankets and stuff like that because, well, it is the season to be comfy and cozy. I've got my blanket and I'm also sitting on a blanket and a chair, obviously. But so anyway, in today's video, we'll be talking about a band called Sleep Token and the fact that they have decided to basically destroy a tattoo artist's livelihood by taking down their Instagram account and being like, the tattoos that you're doing that's inspired by us is not okay. And they have basically been like, we're just gonna, do you for copyright, okay? And this is absolutely wild to me because if you think about how much fan art that is created for every single band, if you think about how many tattoos have been created for every single band, you're just like, what the... This is crazy. Like, I've never seen anything like this, right? So we're going to kind of deep dive into this and talk about this and my thoughts and feelings towards this, okay? So let's get into it. Today we are having iPad time. I thought that would make my life so much easier because normally when I film videos, I read notes off of my laptop screen. No, not my laptop screen, my computer screen that's literally underneath my camera right now. But I'm not going to be able to read my notes from there to here without wearing my glasses. And even then, I think I would struggle, and you don't want me to be wearing my glasses because the glare would be too much, right? So I have my iPad in front of me right now. So yesterday, while I was scrolling through my Instagram stories of people that I follow, one tattoo artist that I've been tattooed by a couple of times, her name's Nancy, she's done a couple of my blackwork tattoos. She posted up about the fact that there is a tattoo artist that was talking about the fact that she has had her Instagram account basically depleted because she was doing fan art tattoos or tattoos to represent her client's love for Sleep Token, right? So I hopped on over to this tattoo artist's Twitter page. I personally don't use Twitter anymore. I mean, I still have my account, but I don't use it. So I had to use a browser because I got rid of the app off my phone because for me, Twitter is just a cesspit, okay? There is obviously some wonderful people on Twitter still, but trying to find those people nowadays, oh God. So I hopped on over to Twitter on a browser to look at this artist's post on Twitter. So Emily said, Sleep Token's team suspended my business Instagram account. My whole business is on here. I'm devastated. Now, I've lost an Instagram account before and I know how devastating it is because I lost so many personal photos and videos and just posts from over a decade because I had my Instagram account from 2012 and then I think it was deleted in 2021 or 2022, something like that. So I had nearly a decade's worth of stuff on there that was just gone. Instagram had just deleted my account and they said it was because I was impersonating someone. How was I impersonating myself? I don't know what happened there, but for me, losing just loads of personal photos was gutting. I can't imagine what it feels like to lose all of your work and all of your clientele as well, because the majority of tattoo artists nowadays use apps like Instagram to collect clientele, to collect potential business. I can't imagine how gutting that feels. That would be... I don't know, that would just destroy me. I know that sounds so dramatic, but I would just, it would affect me pretty badly, right? Before we get into this situation a little bit more, I just want to talk about Sleep Token, the band, just in case there is anyone here that doesn't know who Sleep Token is. I feel like they have popped off so much as of lately. You probably all will be aware of who Sleep Token is. I don't know, but Sleep Token formed in 2016. They are from England. Describing their music is incredibly hard because if I was to sit here and say they are a metal band, then I'm going to have a lot of metalheads come after me, but they do have elements of metal music throughout their music, but they also have, rock and a little bit of hip hop here and there. They have such a mishmash of sounds. I don't know, there is just not a band that's like Sleep Token, and I think that's why they're doing so well. I have been a big fan of Sleep Token since, hang on, I can tell you. This is so sad. I have that app called Stats FM where it can literally tell you the first time you streamed Sleep Token, or any band or any artist or anything like that. So the first time I streamed Sleep Token was 21st of December 2019. And the only reason why I knew of Sleep Token way before the majority of people, not to sound like a hipster or whatever, like, but it's because this was the time when I started talking to my boyfriend Tom. And Tom is completely and utterly obsessed with metal, rock kind of music and just indie bands and all of that. Like, he's very, very into music and going to gigs and all of that. So he was very much aware of Sleep Token way before they popped off. He was one of the lucky people that got to see Sleep Token perform at a church in London in 2018. It was like a very, very small gig. And it's now known as one of like the most iconic gigs that the majority of Sleep Token fans wish they had gone to. Also, to show how much of a fan Tom is of Sleep Token, he actually has incredibly rare Sleep Token art. He's got the sundowning sigils, like actual artwork from the Sleep Token store. There was only 50 of them made and he has one of each out of those 50. So when me and Tom first started talking, before we, you know, were in a relationship and what have you, we'd obviously talk about music. But I have been listening to them ever since. I've been a big fan of them ever since. I have seen them play twice now. One time it was in Birmingham in 2021, and then I saw Sleep Token perform again in Birmingham again last year. I think it was their last big tour in the UK. Well, it was their first like big arena tour, but before that they were doing like intimate gigs and stuff like that. So I will say I am a huge fan of Sleep Token. So as I have been a big Sleep Token fan, I can tell you, like, they have changed quite a bit over the years. They had their first album called Sundowning, which I think is probably my favourite album of theirs. And then their second album is This Place Will Become Your Tomb, which I also... It's tough for me to say which one is my favourite album between Sundowning and This Place Will Become Your Tomb, because I like them both so freaking much. Like, they're equal to me. And then their third album, Take Me Back to Eden, was the album that absolutely skyrocketed their career. They went from being kind of unknown, not many people knowing about them, to millions, absolutely millions of people becoming aware of them, and they just boomed, right? And it was kind of like overnight, and it was mainly because TikTok got a hold of their music and BookTok got a hold of their music, right? And if you know anything about BookTok, like, no shade or anything like that, not everyone that is a part of BookTok is a certain type of way, but some were or are a certain type of way, and they started making these like mega cringe TikToks and using Sleep Token music as like the background or whatever, and it really did help Sleep Token's career. But then the fandom for Sleep Token went from, yeah, Sleep Token's music is, you know, really fucking cool, I kind of vibe with it, to obsessed, disgusting parasocial fans. It was insane to see it. Absolutely just crazy to see the shift within the fandom for Sleep Token. And yeah, it's just been wild ever since. And I've kind of stood back from the whole fandom of Sleep Token now. Like, I still enjoy their music. They're still, I think, my third most played like musician. Yeah, my top 3 artists are Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator, and Sleep Token. I also forgot to mention their newest album that come out this year. It is Even in Arcadia. But yeah, with this big shift within the fandom and how many people love Sleep Token, they did change management, and that has been the biggest shift within Sleep Token. So they did sign with RCA Records in February of 2024. Before that, they were with Spine Farm Records, and RCA Records also have Doja Cat under them, Britney Spears, A$AP Rocky, and, you know, some other pretty big names and what have you. So yeah, the shift was there, and what that shift is is stuff that we'll be talking about throughout this video. But yeah, anyway, let's get on to the tattoo side of things. Back to Emily's post on Twitter where she says Sleep Token's team suspended my business and Instagram account and all of that, right? So first of all, let's take a look at some of Emily's Sleep Token artwork and tattoos so we can take a look at what is getting her in trouble with Sleep Token, right? So the first one we have here is like this Gothic architecture artwork tattoo, and there is the Sleep Token logo in there. Now this imagery is not Sleep Token official artwork. This is not part of any album artwork or any official artwork that Sleep Token has ever created, to my memory anyway. Again, bit of a big fan of Sleep Token, and I am pretty aware of every type of artwork they've ever made or come out with or whatever. And to memory, this is not, you know, something that they have created themselves. This is something Emily has created. So the only thing that is Sleep Token related here is the Sleep Token logo. Now, in my opinion, using a band's logo a part of another bit of artwork, like incorporating it, isn't something that you can really say, oh, that's illegal, that's copyright. To me, this is fair use. Because again, if you think about how many people have band logos tattooed on them and stuff like that, like have we ever heard of bands creating a fuss because of that? No, we haven't. It's just crazy to me that this is like offensive to them and they think it warrants them destroying someone's career, you know? This is another one, and again, the only sort of Sleep Token thing going on here is the mask, right? So the dagger, completely fine, and then the mask is also being creatively changed. So Vessel, who is the singer for Sleep Token, is always wearing a mask, and there is elements of Vessel's mask in this tattoo, but then there's like a demon thing on top of that. So again, it's been changed quite a bit, and in my opinion, this would be just fair use, right? Like, yes, Emily has taken inspiration from Vessel's mask and what have you, but she's also changed it quite a bit, right? Thank you. And then this is a flash sheet that Emily has created for Sleep Token. Again, we have the mask one there. With the robotic one, again, there is an element of the Sleep Token logo there, but that's like about it. Then we have this feather / sword tattoo. And again, there is the Sleep Token logo, but that's about it. We also have this angel thing going on there. And again, there is just the Sleep Token logo or elements of it, you know, it's not like the full thing. And then we have this crying eye situation, nothing Sleep Token related there as such. Again, it's obviously a reference to some lyrics and stuff like that. And then we have some waves and some flowers there as well. Again, all of this to me just looks like fair use or fan art. And it's also not the most extreme fan art or tattoo related art I've seen to do with Sleep Token. I've seen absolute rip-offs of their album art. I've seen portraits of Sleep Token with the logo. I've seen very blatantly obvious fan art tattoos and art as a whole. This is one of the most subtle flash sheets I've seen when it comes to Sleep Token fan art and tattoos and all of that, right? So why they have picked on Emily, I don't know, but this isn't actually the only time this has happened. Sleep Token are basically known now for shutting down fan art and cosplayers and all sorts. Like, they have been on one as of recently, and again, it has been since they changed management. So going back to Emily's Twitter post where she again says, oh, Sleep Token has basically destroyed my career, I thought it'd be helpful to read some of the tweets where she answers some questions. So someone said, how do you know they reported you? And then Emily said their email is in the report. And then at the bottom, it does say, if the reporter contacts us, we'll put your content back on Instagram. Until then, no one else can see it. And then it says, copy reporter name, Sleep Token. It does have an email at the bottom there for Rico Management, which is another team that Sleep Token work alongside, who have probably been part of, you know, this new motive of them being very strict on what fans can and cannot do when it comes to doing fan art and stuff like that. Someone else says, was it your entire artist page? I assume you tattoo more than just Sleep Token stuff. Honestly, it does sound like everything you've done falls under fair use, and the band, or at least their management, are showing their whole arse right now. Sorry you have to deal with this. Emily said, they taken down every Sleep Token tattoo and design I did the other day, even from 2 years ago, but I guess they saw my recent tattoo, which was also Sleep Token, and reported me for that one too, which ultimately got my account taken down after 2 strikes. But yeah, I tattoo other stuff. And it's just... oh god, I just don't understand this personally. Again, I have never ever seen anything like this. Like, I'm pretty sure the majority of bands, if not every single band ever, has always been grateful for fan art or cosplays or, you know, their fans getting tattoos to show their love for them and stuff. Like, that's just what the alternative world is. No, like, there are so many bands, so many fans, and so many of those fans have band tattoos. Like, it's just like part of the culture. No, it's just so shocking to me. So then someone else asks, that's insane, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not protected from copyright due to it being your own art? Emily said, I should be. All the designs were my own, inspired by the band, which they still got credit for regardless. They've sent out cease and desist to cosplayers and people who made fan art too. This is abuse of a power, which I agree with, and this again is something that I've kind of briefly touched upon. Again, as a like long-term Sleep Token fan, it was never ever like this until they changed management or record label. You know, I've seen so much fan art, so many cosplayers for Sleep Token over the years, and as they got more popular, that of course did increase a lot. And I just don't understand why you wouldn't want your fans to kind of celebrate you. And, you know, I don't know, when you're part of a fandom, it's kind of like a community, right? And imagine shutting down the people in that community, and the only reason why that community exists is because of you. I am for sure certain that the actual band Sleep Token have nothing to do with this. I have in good faith that they have nothing to do with this, and it is their management, it is their record label. Because again, up until when they changed management and record labels and stuff like that, they didn't give a flying fuck. They did not give a flying fuck. I mean, Sleep Token don't say anything because they are like an anonymous band. They do wear masks and they don't interact with their fans. It's a case of they perform, make music, and then they leave stage and leave the recording booth. Like, they don't have much of an interaction with fans or anything like that, right? But they never said anything beforehand. They didn't have their previous record labels reach out and, you know, try and silence people. They didn't do anything to stop people making fan art and stuff like that. It is, again, only something that has been happening recently. And I have in good faith again to believe that if Sleep Token had more power over what people could do on their behalf, they would be like, yo, we don't give a flying fuck, like, let people do what they want. Because they are so appreciative of all their fans, especially when they're performing on stage. Again, they don't really interact with their fans because they are an anonymous band. They kind of just perform and then leave. But, you know, you always see Vessel and the other band members doing stuff like this, like doing little hearts and what have you. And, you know, multiple times Vessel has, you know, broke down on stage because it's all been very overwhelming, because they have always been such a small, unknown band until they kind of blew up on TikTok, and they're all so very appreciative and I guess overwhelmed at the success that they are having as of now. And I feel like sometimes it is all too much for Vessel. Like, a lot of people do end up getting a little bit worried for him because of the amount of like little breakdowns he has on stage and stuff. Again, I feel like it's out of their hands, like the actual band, and it is just the greedy management, as always, taking part in all of this. I'm more than happy to like eat my words if I'm wrong, for sure. Like, if it does turn out that Sleep Token are behind this and are like, oh, we don't want people making fan art of us, we don't want people tattooing, you know, art inspired by our music, then I'm more than willing to take back my words and say, well, yep, they're terrible. Because if it is the case, then I'm more than happy to say, ugh, yikes, Sleep Token suck. So then someone else replied to Emily's tweet saying, what the fuck, you gotta contact them, man. Emily said, I've even emailed Rolling Stones magazine. Someone DM'd me months ago, so this is my way of outing it publicly. I'm also on call with someone who allegedly can get Instagram accounts back. Oh gosh, there's always someone that knows someone that knows someone that can get an Instagram account back. Like, what is that about? I wish I knew someone because that would have been incredibly handy when I lost mine. Someone else said it's most likely their new label which are behind this, but even so, it's still a ridiculous thing to do. which is basically what I've touched upon. And then Emily said, I have the email. It's Rico Entertainment Management that they're under. That's done this. Someone else just said, that just shows a suspended account. What's Sleep Token got to do with this? And then Emily just posted a screenshot of the evidence of the stuff that was copyright. And then as you can see here, there is some of the artwork that was copywritten. The only ones that may be a bit of an issue is, again, the ones that have the Sleep Token logo. So if we zoom right in there, it looks like there's a floral piece with the Sleep Token logo right there. And then there is also a tattoo of Vessel's mask as well there, which also might be a bit of an issue. But also, again, it kind of just falls under like fan art or fair use. And it depends how you feel personally about when people do get portraits of people or famous people. Some people do find that quite icky and kind of like, oh, why would you do that? But also I feel like it's just one of those things that's gonna happen, you know? Like I can't say much personally because I have a famous face tattooed on me, but it's more so a character. I have Patsy Stone from Absolutely Fabulous tattooed on me, and again, it is of the character, but Joanna Lumley is still, I guess, tattooed on me, you know? Like, I can understand maybe that people or famous people do get a little bit uncomfortable with the fact that people do have their faces tattooed on them, but also with Vessel, he's wearing a mask, so you don't actually see the person underneath it. It is just a masked person, you know? Yeah, again, I still personally feel like fan art comes under fair use. It's not like a direct copy of their artwork. Emily hasn't done any direct copies at all of anything that Sleep Token has ever done, again, other than their logo. But like, it's a logo. You can't change it. Otherwise, it's not gonna look like the Sleep Token logo anymore. Another person said, everyone's sitting here like Vessel did this. I highly doubt that. And I also agree. It wasn't actually Sleep Token themselves that did it. It was their management team. I, again, don't think Sleep Token have anything to do with this. I don't think they're going to their management and being like, oh, I've seen this tattoo on Instagram or TikTok and I don't like it, or I don't like the fact that this artist is doing this. Can you, like, stop it? Like, that just seems so ridiculous to me. I fully believe this is a management issue and them just trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do. Like, I don't understand what they're gaining from this other than being a problem, because this is just going to piss off a bunch of fans. And that's not what you want to do when a band is like on their way up. Like, they're just getting more and more successful as time goes on. Do you really want to make that crash and burn? Because you're just losing money that way. Like, I feel like sometimes management do this to people that are making sort of bootleg merch. I've seen so many people try and sell fake Sleep Token merch, t-shirts and stuff like that. And like, this is obviously about tattoos, so talking about merch is a whole other thing, but I would understand if they're, you know, trying to shut people down from selling bootleg merch. That's like, I feel like something they should maybe go after, not people making, you know, tattoos or fan art or whatever. Like, if you're purposely ripping off their own merch and then selling it for a little bit cheaper, that's, to me, is a big problem. But if you've got like artists creating their own like Sleep Token fan merch and stuff like that, you know, they've made their own artwork, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Again, if people are ripping off Sleep Token's artwork, then yeah, that's a problem. So Emily also retweeted a comment that she got, and someone said, what you did was illegal. It was theft. Now you want to play the victim when your business is affected. The thing is, again, Emily hasn't stolen any artwork apart from, I guess, maybe their logo. But again, that's like a logo. Like, again, you can't do anything to that. Otherwise, you know, it's just not going to look like the Sleep Token logo. Like, if you take out some of the prongs, I don't know what else to call them, like at the lines out of the logo, it's not going to look like the Sleep Token logo, is it? Anyway, Emily said, I need to know why people believe designing music-related tattoos that bands are even credited for is now a bad thing, all because they don't personally like me. A lot of artists, such as Chris Motionless, the Callas Deo Boys, I've never heard of them, I'm so sorry, Courtney LaPlante, etc., have all shared and loved them. So I'm guessing she's done fan art tattoos for these bands and what have you on clients, and then these artists have been like, oh, that's cool, and shared them, right? And that is the way it always has been. No musicians have ever had a problem, ever, to my knowledge, right? Like, I'm trying to think of an artist that's had a problem with a fan getting a tattoo for them. Like, I just cannot think of any, ever. Because again, that's just part of the old world in my opinion. And this was another very good point that I saw. Didn't Kat Von D win a lawsuit when a photographer tried to sue her for tattooing a photo he took? Isn't this all under fair use? They're not the only band or artist who have their stuff tattooed. Which, yes, this is very much a case. Kat Von D used a photographer's picture as reference, but it ended up looking very much like the photograph. But Kat Von D does do realism. So again, like, there isn't much you can change with that, especially when it comes to a portrait as well. You can't change much because then it's not going to look like the person you are tattooing, right? So yeah, the fact that Kat Von D won that as well, like, when it comes to art, it's all about references and, you know, inspiration. Again, with Emily, she hasn't ever directly copied anything that Sleep Token have done. She's never copied their album art and all of that. The only thing that she has used is their logo, which again, I'm not going there again. You know how I feel. So yeah, this whole situation is absolutely wild to me. And it does make me think, gosh, like, is this going to be the future? Are record labels and band management going to get incredibly greedy and, you know, start destroying little small independent artists' livelihoods because, oh no, they've tattooed a logo? Like, what? I just don't understand as to why they have done this though. I guess it is to shut down, you know, artists like Emily, to stop them making money or profiting off of a band's likeness and logo. But also, Sleep Token are making so much bloody money now. You know, a £200 tattoo compared to how much money they're making. You know, like, stop it. Just fucking stop it. Like, the greed is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. And I obviously do not stand by this by any means. I think it's ridiculous. And I just can't believe we've kind of got here with this amount of greed. And, you know, to destroy someone's livelihood like this because they... And we all know how I feel about, you know, stealing other people's artwork and copying other people's artwork and stuff like this. But this, to me, again, does fall under fair use. It falls under inspiration. It falls under whatever, right? Like, I just don't... I just cannot believe this. It's so ridiculous. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this. Do you feel like this is something we're going to start seeing more often? Are we going to see bands and musicians getting greedy like this and trying to shut down fan art because, well, that money that people are spending on tattoos could be going to them and their merch? But, like, this is tattoos. Unless the bands start doing tattoos themselves. Or could you imagine if they started, like, doing official tattoo artists that they, like, approve to do fan art tattoos of them on people? Could we see that? I would not be surprised if that starts happening, and then obviously some of the money goes to the band. To be honest, I'm surprised that hasn't even been a thing yet. Because these record labels and managements are just so fucking greedy. I'm surprised we haven't seen that. And how would you feel if that was a thing? I don't know how I'd feel about that. I really don't know how I'd feel about that. Because I am very much a person that's like, yes, pay all artists what they're worth, you know. If it wasn't for that band, then this tattoo artist, Emily, wouldn't be getting clients for Sleep Token related tattoos, right? So a part of me is like, well, yeah, maybe they should get a little bit of a percentage, but also they're making so much money as it is. Like, don't be greedy. Like, oh, this is so tough. I don't know. I would love to know your thoughts and feelings on this. This is a very interesting topic to discuss and talk about. I'm very much looking forward to reading the comments about this. Yeah, I hope and pray that Emily can get her Instagram account back, but chances are it may not happen. I don't know. It depends if this story goes viral, you know, because she has been obviously talking about it on Twitter, and she's been in contact with a few people and talking to a few people. I did, just before I sat down, get a message from a tattoo artist that I've actually made a video about before. Her name's Jessica. She sent me something, like someone's done a video on Common Revolt. Let me see. Let me have a look at this. 2 seconds. Yeah, so there's someone called Common Revolt that has done a reel about this. So there's a chance that this whole story will pop the hell off, and then with that, Instagram will become aware of what's happened and may step in and be like, yeah, okay, Emily, you can have your account back, kind of thing. And I hope that is the case, because, like, again, no tattoo artist should lose everything they've worked hard for because of some greedy record label or management or even the band. But again, I highly doubt Sleep Token have anything to do with this personally, but again, I'm more than happy to eat my words if they are behind this. So yeah, because of all of this, obviously Emily has had to make a new Instagram account to kind of get things going again, because every day that she doesn't have an Instagram account, she will be losing out on business and losing out on clients. So I will leave a link down below to all of Emily's relative social medias and stuff like that. So if you want to, go and support her or give her a follow or what have you, that would be excellent. And yeah, I obviously wish the best for Emily, and I hope this does resolve in some way, because independent artists like Emily coming up against people like big bands like Sleep Token, who have a huge team behind them now, is crazy. And Sleep Token was a small independent band like not too long ago. Like, I doubt they've forgotten their roots this quickly, right? I don't know. It's possible. Again, it's very possible, but I don't know. Anyway, I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on this topic. And again, I'm very excited to read your thoughts and opinions in the comment section. And that's it for today's video. I just want to say thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me for a little while. And until my next video, bye!